Hello, everyone. My name is Durrett. We have a lot of things in store today for the very first show of Durrett's Take, hosted by Durrett. You'll get to know me throughout my time doing the show, but one thing I wanted to say before we get started is that you may not agree with my opinions, and that's totally fine. I accept opposite opinions sometimes because it brings in new ideas, it brings a new perspective to things. That's totally okay, but again, this is my issue, so therefore I'll be sharing my opinions. Um, One thing I want to say before I get started about this coronavirus thing is that I'm not predicting when it'll end because it's so unknown and so many people have said so many different things. It's hard to get a gauge on when it'll end. So I'm not gonna so even though I'm going to predict about the upcoming football season and then hope that there's still a basketball season, even though that may not be the case, I'm still going to act like they're happening because I'm going to hope that things can get back to normal as soon as possible. So to get started, we had a couple quarterback news in the NFL over the past weekend. The first one I want to talk about is Mitchell Trubisky and the Bears. So the Chicago Bears do not pick up on Mitchell Trubisky's fifth-year option, which should not come as a surprise. What's interesting is that they're showing you plenty of signs that after this season, Mitchell Trubisky's time in Chicago is most likely over. The first sign was that Mitchell Trubisky did not make the playoffs, and the Bears had a really good defense. Because like if you have a great defense like the Chicago Bears do, all you need is to be a serviceable quarterback, and he couldn't perform that last season. The next step is that they brought in Nick Foles, and they said, "Oh, Nick Foles is gonna compete with Mitchell Trubisky." When they really say is, "Yeah, Mitchell Trubisky doesn't outperform Foles, or if he screws up, then we're gonna play Nick Foles." Basically, that's what they're basically saying. And then now the third sign is that they didn't sign the fifth-year option. So basically, this is a make it or break a year for him. If he can't perform well, he's out. If he can maybe save his job. So in my opinion, there has to be a couple things that can happen. The first thing is that Mitch Trubisky has to not carry his team, not be carried to the playoffs, but he has to lead his team to the playoffs. If he can do that, that still might not be enough because he's been to the playoffs before. So what might have to happen is that he might have to win a playoff game in order to save his job. Even that might not be enough, but I feel like that's a good minimum. Make the playoffs, win a playoff game, and then your job should be yours and saved. Whether now, no, if that were to happen, I don't think it'd be I don't think it'd be long term by any means. Deal wise, it could be like just a 2 year deal for 20 million or whatever. But hey, at least he can be a starter for at least another year or two. And but I don't feel like that's going to happen. Though I feel like we've seen what Mitch Trubisky can and can't do. We know his limitations are stuff. So I feel like by at least the middle of the season, towards the end of the season, Nick Foles will start and either lead the Chicago Bears to the playoffs or at least make them in contention. But it's okay. I know the Chicago Bears don't admit it, but they made a mistake drafting Mitchell Trubisky, and it's okay. Unfortunately, it happens to be a huge mistake because both Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes were in were in this draft with Trubisky, and the fact that they traded up to get Trubisky does not look good at all. But hey, people whiff on drafts all the time. It happens, and you can't blame them for it. Hopefully, they um, because I don't feel like Nick Foles will be the future quarterback of the Bears. He could be like a bridge quarterback for a few years before getting the heir apparent. So hopefully the next time they draft a quarterback, hopefully they strike gold and get a good one. So now moving on to the other big quarterback news. Um, so reports say that Andy Dalton has signed a 1 year, 3 million minimum, 7 million maximum deal with the Dallas Cowboys. So now he's back home where he plays college ball at TCU, and he's home with his family. I love this deal. Now, there's been a lot of different angles that people are going off of. A lot of people are talking about, well, this is unfair to Dak. Has Dak lost his leverage? Will Andy Dalton start after this year because things are uncertain with Dak Prescott right now? But I'm not gonna go off of that angle. The angle I'm going to go off of is let's just assume he's a backup for this season, and he's only there to be the backup, not to beat out Dak Prescott, or even not as a leverage tool. Although that secretly could be what Jerry Jones is doing, but I don't. But I'm not going to look at it from that angle. I'm going to just strictly look at it from his role as a backup. So if you're going to look at that role, I love this deal for the Dallas Cowboys. Andy Dalton hasn't been good the past few years. Now, of course, that's not all of his fault. He's had some bad coaching. The team he's played for is horrible. The organization's horrible. So it's not all on him, but definitely he's partly to blame. So this is good that he's doing kind of like a Jameis Winston thing. He's going to come in, kind of learn from a Super Bowl winning head coach, learn from a good organization, learn how to be a good leader and carry out the normal quarterback business like Dak Prescott does, unless Dak Prescott holds out. But again, in this scenario, I'm going to assume that Dak Prescott's not going to hold out, and either a contract solution will come up, or he's just going to play with that tenor for the year. But I love this move. And also, what's pretty good is that Dak rarely gets injured. But if it happens to be a case where Dak gets injured, or Dak decides, yes, I'm going to hold out after all, well, Andy Dalton can come in and win you a few games. He's a good enough player. The thing you have to remember is a lot of people look at his recent years and think he's a bad quarterback. But what you have to remember, he's been in the playoff 4 times. He has an over 500 record. And in those times that he did that, he also had a lot of talent surrounding him. And since the Cowboys have a lot of talent, like, he can do some damage. Like, this is not a Cooper Rush where he's untested, or other backups where they just know that they just don't have enough to win you games. This quarterback Andy Dalton can easily win you games. No ifs, buts about it. I love this move for the Dallas Cowboys. I was surprised because I thought he would be in line to maybe sign with the Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots, but since that's not the case, because that would be the best scenario, but since that's not the case, and this is the second best scenario, it's good for Andy Dalton and it's good for the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe not so good for Dak Prescott, but that's another topic and issue. So now going on to my last topic that I want to cover in depthly. There's been a lot of different scenarios thrown out about what may or may not happen for this upcoming college football season. There's so many different scenarios, and I want to go over the different scenarios that I think or that are being discussed, and then I'll go over my pros and cons for them, and then kind of show you which scenario I feel like would be best moving forward. So to start, the best scenario, in my opinion, is to wait till the 2021 calendar year to start the season. So like wait till like February or March of next year to start. I'll explain why I like that one the best later on, and I'll go through the other options first. So the first option is to delay the start of the season to like mid-October or something like that, and then it'll run into January basically. The pro with that is that we're going to be waiting a little bit longer, and then hopefully we can get in the season. Another pro is that you can be able to complete a full season. You don't have to shorten anything. But now the two big cons is that one, you're probably not going to get any fans there. If you're playing the games, that's all that matters, but you're still losing out on ticket revenue. But then the other big thing is that since it's going to go into January, that means you're going to have some very cold weather games. So for example, if there's a Ohio State versus Wisconsin matchup in January, no one's gonna want to. The players are not gonna want to play, and that's just gonna be too rough. Again, there should not be any fans by then. But even if fans are allowed to go, no fans are gonna want to go in those cold weather games anyway. So I just don't see it as the best option. I feel like it could be the second best option, but not the best option. Another option that's been discussed and tossed around is to play conference games only. Now this option I hate with a capital H. I do not like this option at all. Now again, like the other option, you wait till mid-October, so hopefully things calm down by then, and hopefully things get back to normal. And you at least get some football in, which is a plus. But the cons are just too big. Number one, the biggest thing is that again, like the other option, most likely no there's not going to be any fans in the stands. The second option is that not everyone is in a conference. So you got 6 or 7 independent schools like Notre Dame, BYU, Liberty, and so on. They're not in a in any conferences. So that means would they just have to play each other twice? And I mean, yeah, they can do that. At least that's better than nothing. But that's a horrible schedule and horrible waste of time for the team. And I feel bad for them. I wouldn't want to go through that if I'm an independent school. And then the big thing also is that there's a bunch of rivalry games that are out of conference. So, for example, you got Army versus Navy, Utah versus BYU, North versus South Carolina, Notre Dame versus USC, Notre Dame versus Michigan, Florida versus Florida State. You want to be able to get those rivalry games because you're only playing conference games only. And those rivalry games are something fans look forward to every year, and it's kind of a big deal. So, if they were to get rid of that, then that would take a huge hit for football fans. So now I'm going to go back to the wait till 2021 and share why I feel like that could be the best option, in my opinion. So by then, things should be back to normal. I'll be pretty surprised if things are still kind of bad. But if this COVID-19 thing is seasonal, then yeah, it could be okay. It could be a potential problem. But hopefully things should be died down by then. Also at this point, you should be able to get fans to the game. So not only going to get your TV ready, but then also get your ticket revenue, and you can make as much money as possible. Another option is you're still going to have football in general, but also you'll be able to play a full season this way. So it works out great in all those aspects. Now, I will admit there are a little bit of hassles and things you'd have to overcome. Like, for example, um, one problem is that there's around March time, there's March Madness, there's the NBA season. So they have so much they had to compete with those two sports. So TV wise, it'll be tough getting contracts and negotiations to kind of figure out what game's going to play on what day, what time. Like that'll be kind of a hassle to figure out. But again, I think it'll be worth it. The other hassle is that for the student athletes, it's a short turnaround from playing from February to May, and then turn around and have to play another season in the fall, whether it's on the college or professional level, especially for professional level, that'd be hard. And then the third thing is that, in my opinion, if college football starts next year, then I doubt the NFL will start this year. But let's say the NFL carries out their full fall schedule like normal. Well, they're going to want to do the draft combine and they're going to want to have the draft. But if college football season's going on in the middle of it, they're going to have to push that back. And since the NFL is the top dog, top league, I'm not sure if they're going to want to accommodate to that. So college football and NFL will have to come together to kind of figure out that. But in general, I feel like when it's all said and done, that would be the best option. Well, technically, the best option is everything proceeds like normal, but I'm not sure if that'll happen or not. But if there has to, out of these scenarios I mentioned, I feel like wait until 2021 would be the best case scenario. So I hope that's the case. And the reason why they're discussing different scenarios to try to get some football games in general is because college football games, brings in a lot of money. That money that they bring in from college football supports all the other college athletic sports, so they can't bring in the money from football. Not only football might be temporarily shut down or be hindered, but then it's going to shut down a lot of the other Olympic sports on campus as well. So it's a big effect there. So hopefully we can be able to have football again. I want to thank you for tuning on to this show. Please leave comments on what you would like for me to talk about. I particularly talk about football and basketball, and it could be college or professional because those are the two main sports I watch. But let me know in the comments what you think about what I've discussed and what you want me to talk about in the future, and I'll incorporate it. I want to thank you guys very much for listening to my first show, and I look forward to doing this again tomorrow. Thank you very much.